All right. Good morning, everybody. Get that off of here. I think we're going live. I think we're live. Hang on. Just need to check that over on YouTube. Looks like it's going there. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to session 3 of Decision of Self. Um, Today's an exciting day. Today's an exciting day because it is all about limiting beliefs and how we move this. One of the things that I want you to set an intention, we'll do this, we'll do a little intentional meditation for about a minute or so here in just a moment. I want you to have a concept. I want you to start allowing to flow and roll in that beautiful, brilliant mind of yours. A couple of concepts. One, I want you to truly grasp the idea of neuroplasticity. If you remember when you were little and you had Play-Doh, or some of us were really old, we had some things that we used to silly putty. Who remembers silly putty? If you remember silly putty, you used to be able to take that and put it on cartoons and it would like lift off the ink of the cartoon. It was kind of cool, but you could shape it. I want you to remember, I want you to have this idea of being able to shape some things. And in understanding that, as you can shape things, you can reform them. What does it take to reshape things? You can say it out loud. You can type it in the chat. What do you believe it takes to reshape something? I want you to really put some brain power behind that. What does it take to reshape something? Doesn't it take some energy? Doesn't it take some force? Even if you wanted to, imagine you wanted to change the shape of a container of water, what would you have to have? You'd have to have a new container, wouldn't you? And so if you're going to put your ideas, your goals, your thoughts, here's the question. Here's the funny part. If you wanted to put your ideas or thoughts into a new container, ooh, this is going to be a good visualization. I don't know that I've ever gone down this path before. If you wanted to put your ideas into a new container, would you want to put them into a smaller one or a bigger one? If you wanted to put your goals, your DMP for 2025, your ultimate target for money, if you wanted to put that into your goals, into a new goal container, what would the container look like? How big would the container be? How big does it be? How much bigger is it than your financial container you're currently got? Does that make sense? Are you starting to have a little bit of a new idea? And the reason I want you to really grasp this, the because, is because we need to do better visualization. What did we talk about yesterday? Visualization. Seeing yourself achieving these goals, seeing yourself in the emotional state. What we're going to be working on today in limiting beliefs is truly creating a new story. The reason that they're called limiting beliefs is because they minimize who you are. Your beliefs are not wrong. Your beliefs to want more, to have more, right? You are breathing more right now. You are breathing an abundant breath right now. If you took in a breath right now and held it, there'd be plenty for us. So there's not a limit. Could you imagine if you ran around going, I got to get that air. Ooh, I got to get that air. Ooh, that's my air. Oh, I got to go get air from. There's an abundance of what you want available to you. Write that down. Abundance is available to me. Write that down. Abundance is available to me. So I really want you to understand that abundance is available to you. It's available to you. It's always available to you. And it's always been available to you. So let's do a real quick recap. Right. So day one, right? This is day 3 of decision of self. Day one, we talked about the power of identity, right? We talked about the power of identity and understanding how valuable it is. We learned the foundation of all transformation starts with you, not just what you want to achieve. Where are my glasses? I need to make sure this doesn't go cuckoo over here. Okay, so that can go away. So, success flows from identity. Not that your success creates your identity. This is a moment. This is a Joe Dispenza moment. Your personality is needed in this process for 2025. Shammy is on the call. Yeah. Your personality makes up your personal reality. I want you to imagine, how many of you have ever had a water fight? You ever sprayed each other with hoses or water guns, right? Or splashing in the pool. If there was 2 of them and one of you stopped splashing and didn't you cover up? Drop a C in the chat if that's something you know what I'm talking about. If whether you were doing with a hose or you were doing splashing, and if you're splashing, right, usually guys, because we're stronger and we're more aggressive, we will splash, and we can splash harder, and we know how to splash, and we can cover up our girlfriend and just make them go, and they turn completely away from the splashing, right? What my goal is that I want you to fathom how your identity is currently performing. Are you turning away from your goals? Are you turning away from abundance? How many of us, right? Our identity is this. Our identity says when somebody, oh my gosh, how many of you have ever, I don't know, helped somebody make a phone call to get a tow truck? How many of you have ever towed somebody out of a ditch? How many of you have ever paid for somebody's groceries? How many of you have ever stepped in at a moment where you offered abundance and it was taken, and somebody said, oh my God, how do I pay you back? When somebody asks you, how do I pay you back? What's your response? How many times, if we do something for somebody who's of value to us, somebody who we consider is a little bit above us, and we do something nice for them, and they say, man, let me pay you back. Let me give you a gift back. We usually say, don't worry about it. How many of us, drop a W in the chat if you've ever said, don't worry about it? Your identity is, don't worry about me. Listen carefully. I need you to really dig into this, because this is going to be one of those, it's not about doing certain things. It's about doing things in a certain way. It's foundational to understanding what we're going to talk about today in session 3, limiting beliefs. If you are a don't worry about it, what is the it? What is the it? The it isn't the thing that you did. Don't worry about it. Do you realize what the it is? Who has an aha and understands what the it is? What's the it? Don't worry about it. Oh my God, that was so awesome. How can I pay you back? Here, let me pay you back. Don't worry about it. Exactly, the me. It's the you. I love it. It's the you. Don't worry about it. We even minimize ourselves and call ourselves an it. Don't worry about taking care of me. Do you know what you're actually saying to yourself? I'm designed to give and not receive. So I want you to look at your hand. Remember, we did that exercise on day one? Just look at your hand. Just stop everything for just a moment and just look at your hand. Can you feel the energy in your hand? You can wiggle your fingers. You made a decision to wiggle your fingers. They're wiggling. You look at the back of your hand. Can you feel the energy pulsing in your hand? Can you feel the energy flowing through your hand? Now I want you to imagine this hand giving, cupping a child's face, rubbing somebody's back, using your credit card to swipe in an ATM or in a machine, a credit card machine, picking up something for somebody. Just imagine that hand giving. Now I want you to imagine that hand receiving. I want you to hold your palm open. And I want you to imagine receiving, somebody handing you something. Does your energy shift in your body? I want you to imagine $1,000 being set in your hand. What's the identity you have around $1,000? They just set $1,000 in your hand. What did your brain do? Did it ask, what's that for? When you give, do you ask, what's this for? No, because you want to feel good. What if $10,000 was set in your hand? Could you imagine $1,000 stacks, 10 of them? 10,000, it's not that heavy. How heavy does $10,000 in cash feel in your currency? How much does $10,000 weigh? $10,000 in US dollars, probably not even a pound. I know it's not a pound. $10,000. Can your hand hold a pound of something? If you've ever had children, your hands can hold 30, 40 pounds, 50 pounds, 60 pounds of something. $10,000, it's not that heavy. Feel it in your hand. Does your hand allow you to receive? Does your hand know the difference? Today, we're going to talk about the limiting belief that's keeping our fist closed. The $10,000 is there. The $20,000, the $500,000 is there. The $1 million is there. Do you think it's harder for the universe to deliver $1 million to you than it is 10,000? Than it is a penny? Does the universe even know any difference? So if it doesn't know the difference, which part of it don't you get, Michael? Go ahead. This is important. Okay, so
Yeah.
okay, so let me ask you this. I want you to love your parents a little bit. I want you to love your mom just a little bit. I want you to love her a lot. Where's the difference? Do you see how it's the energetic thing? There is a thinking stuff from which all things are made. You can love your mom a lot. And you can love your mom a little. What changed in you? Could I tell if you love your mom a lot or a little by looking at you?
Yeah. I think I raised myself.
Yeah. But what if you're in another room? I'm in this room and you're in the room right next to me, and our backs are up against the same wall. There's only 6 inches separating us, 4 inches separating us, 6 inches if it's a half-inch sheetrock, 4-inch wall and 6.5 inch. So 6 inches are separating us, and your back's up against the wall and my back's up against the wall on the other side. We're that close. We're that close. Could I tell how much you love your mom if I'm not in the same room? Unless I'm looking at the energy, right? Feeling the energy. So the universe doesn't care whether it's $1 or $10 million. It just doesn't. What is the difference between $1 and $10 million to the universe?
Energy, right?
Intensity.
Okay.
When Napoleon Hill says you have a white, hot, burning desire, that's what it is. That's the difference. It's the vibration. If you play music, you have a nice magnetic holder that holds your phone on your weight rack, and you play a song. Let's say you're playing I don't know, something by, I don't know why ZZ Top, I can't get ZZ Top out of my head, but you're playing something by ZZ Top or some band you like. What determines how you hear it? Don't you turn up the volume?
Yeah, and like the type of headphones you wear.
Type of headphones you wear, you turn up the volume. And so you have different type of headphones that you could wear depending upon where you're going to be, what you're going to do, so that you can hear your music better. Then you have a volume button on your phone, and it's wirelessly. How is it wirelessly increase? Nobody hears the music, but you're touching a button and it's wirelessly increasing the volume in your headphones, right? Michelle got these the other day. These are the best headphones, maybe not quality wise, but I wore them all day long and I forgot I had them on because they're outside the ear kind of headphones, the bone stuff. But I would turn up the volume on my phone and I would lower it on my phone, and I never touched a thing on the receiver.
Summer, there's adjusting
So can you turn up the volume? What I want to do, and what this program of Decision of Self is you deciding to turn up the volume on your goals and not your fears. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that metaphor makes sense.
Okay. So you want $5,000 a month. You got it. What happens if you add a zero to it? The universe doesn't care. Let me ask you this, is $50,000 a month available to you?
Yes. Yeah.
If it's available to, do you think the universe and people and corporations and companies are okay with you getting $50,000?
Yeah, I believe so.
So, well, you just said it right there. Do you think a corporation that's going to reward you, and this is for everybody, that's going to compensate you your money, do you think they don't want you to get it? Hey, and if the answer is, I don't think they want to, I'd go get a different formula. Your formula is not working. So if you're going to be limited, then you need to find a place where you're unlimited. That's why network marketing is the best vehicle on the planet. It may not be the easiest, it may not be the best, but it's better than most. So understand that your identity needs to be one of receiving. That's what we talked about on Monday.
Okay. Gotcha.
So if you took time to define your future self, the version who's going to achieve all their goals in 2025, what's a trait, what's a habit, what's a mindset that you need to begin to practice today?
Prospecting, I'd say. Right?
Okay. So then now become, and prospecting, is that body, mind, finance, family, society, or faith?
Well, it has a lot of faith in it, and probably society.
Society more than faith. Because you gave yourself an out by going faith. It's about you. Prospecting is about you showing up in the world. Once you decide to show up in the world, you can adjust and adapt your faith so that it shows up in the right way, right quantity, and right space. But to work on faith and to turn on the GPS and not move, the GPS can't do its job. So you have to begin. Bob Proctor said, do the thing until you don't have to do the thing, which translates to do it until you don't have to do it till you want to. And that's when the shift happens.
Yeah. Okay. I get that part. That makes sense.
The universe doesn't care what you ask. Does the universe go, do you think the universe laughs when you want $500,000?
No.
So if the universe ain't laughing, why are we fretting?
Yeah.
So day 2, yesterday we talked about vision casting.
Mhm.
And this is where Wallace D. Waddle says it's not about doing certain things, about doing things in a certain way. You've set goals before. And how many of you drop a 1 in the chat? How many of you over the course of these 3 days have set a goal and doubt slipped in? Drop a D in the chat if doubt slipped in. I don't care what level of doubt. Teeny tiny, big doubt, don't care. But if doubt slipped in, this is a significant understanding. Every time doubt slips in, you're starting over. Here's the good news. You're starting over with a new level of awareness. Right? If I've never been a boxer, I watch people box, I watch people play sports, I watch people do things and they're looking for patterns. I was in basketball and we would study films. Why would we look at films of the competition? So we knew what they were doing, right? So we could visualize, okay, they're moving there. They're getting ready to run Red Rover 2. And that means somebody's going to cut across the middle. And you know they're going to cut across the middle. You're not moving to block it, but all of a sudden, as soon as that pass goes, because you know it's coming, you can intercept it. Turnover. Y'all know what I'm talking about? So now the question becomes, can you visualize so you know how you're going to get beat? That's what we're talking about today. Is we're talking about the limiting beliefs that cause us to lose the game. We're going to shift those. So yesterday, that's why we did yesterday, visualizing, vision casting. Is the version of you at the end of December 2025, will they have had some struggles along the way? Yes. What's the difference between the gold medalist and the silver medalist? In world class, at world class level, how much time, type it in the chat, how much time difference is there between world class gold and world class silver? Best of the best, best on the planet. It's one error, microseconds, 0.001, 0.01, not even a second. Listen carefully. Are the goals you're about to go set world-class goals or the average goal? Doesn't need to be, well, I wanted $180,000. Maybe I need to go for $1 million. Is the goal you have already set? Are you going to decide to play at world-class level? That's the question. How many years do Olympians practice for their event? What's the longest event? I have no idea. It could be a track event that could be 10 minutes. Is there any event? Good morning. I'm still going through. Is there any event that lasts a month? Are they practicing for minutes? Is their thing a minute, 2 minutes? How long is your race? Do you think there's more leeway, more forgiving if you decide to run a course over a year? Do you think you have more time to recover, repair, fix? Can you get better? Here's the thing. When they start the race, listen carefully. When they start the race, when they start their whatever they've trained for, is it possible for them to have a quantum growth during the course of the race? Chances are not. You're as good as you're ever going to be when that gun goes off. You want to know the great news for me? Anybody want to know the great news for you? Have you figured it out? Can you get better over the course of 2025? You know what I would love? You know what I would think I would be hearing right now? Bonus. What just shifted in your body that you know that you can now get better? You can start on January. You can start today. Your goal started today. Do you realize 2025 started today? And if you decide that you can get better every day, 1% better every day, Kaizen, principle of Kaizen, 1% better every day. What would happen if you got 300% better? Say you took a couple of days off. Think about what would happen. What would happen to your current income if it got 300% better? 3x, just 3x by getting 1% better every day. I want you to think about that for a second. I'm on path. I'm on track. You are on track. Say, I'm on track for a 300% growth this year. Aren't you? And Diane just said the key word, momentum. She just typed in the keyword momentum. Could that 1% get even bigger and better if you understood leverage and understood how you start to live in abundance? So day 2, we talked about yesterday, we talked about clarity. You mapped out what success looks like in each area of your life. This is a huge course. Are you realizing that? We're in session 3. Drop an H in the chat if you're realizing the hugeness, the complexity of this course, the overwhelming of this course until it's no longer overwhelming. Here's what I've learned. I've learned that when we go to operate in the mind, we have to go at it with a big stick. And the big stick we use is not fighting it. The stick we use is emotion. Would it be fair to say that you have intellectualized the living bejeebies out of yourself? You have intellectualized yourself to death. You're so frustrated, you don't even want to set goals anymore sometimes. Oh, I got to do my 1,000-word story. I got to do this. You have intellectualized yourself into average, into delusional thinking. It's really that, it's that clear. And the part is when you come to recognize how you have been your own worst enemy, the buck stops here. Now you can whine about it. Listen, okay, for all of you that have realized and understand that you have been the one beating yourself up, you have been your own worst enemy. Let's have our pity party and get over it. 1, 2, 3. Aw, done. Party done. You had a party for it. Now let's move on. Where we need to move on to, what we need to move on to next is creating the things we want. Let's talk. Tell me more about what you want. Don't tell me what you did that caused you failure in the past. Would you like to talk about failure a month from now? A 1 for yes, a 2 for no. Would you like to talk about failure a month from now? 1 for yes, 2 for no. Do you realize you can never talk about how you failed again? Because the second you bring up any kind, well, I tried this in the past. Didn't that just become present? See, we feed our limiting beliefs. How many of you know that certain diseases run better off of sugar? Right? There's certain diseases that people say, oh, you got to get sugar out of your body. Absolutely, Shammy, self-talk. You got to get sugar out of your body because the disease uses the sugar to stay alive. Do you know what keeps your limiting beliefs alive? Talking about your limiting beliefs. I'm too old. I'm too tall. I'm too short. I'm too fat. I'm too young. I don't have any education. Well, you know, I tried that before and I don't seem to understand this or that. No more. It is going to become the most powerful dialogue you have. That's why you learn these phrases. You hear me use these phrases. Isn't that fascinating? That's going to be one of the most powerful phrases that you could ever learn to use. Wheels fall off the wagon. Isn't that fascinating? I have a little cart that I tow around an irrigation pump here on the ranch. And I'm driving it behind the four-wheeler, and it sounds different and it feels different on the, it's like there's something's dragging, but there's nothing dragging. It's everything is in the cart. And I get out, and both tires, because we bought this trailer used, both tires have dry rotted and they're running on the rims. There's just rubber there, and they're shredded and everything else. And I looked at it and I went, isn't that fascinating? Tires completely shredded. Thought it was the funniest thing ever. Why? You have a choice every time you see what happens in your life. Every challenge that shows up, you have a choice. Get better or get bitter. You can get bitter or you can get better. It's always a choice. Sadhguru says, in this moment, you have a choice. In this moment, you have a choice. Get better or get bitter. What's your choice? In this moment, it doesn't matter. Everything happens for you, not to you. I want patience. You don't get patience. You get moments to test your patience. So if that's the case, well, he says, I wanted patience. You're right. You've seen the meme, the video, the priest on trial. He says, I asked God for patience. Did he give me patience? No, he gave me moments to become patient. I asked him to give me more love. Did he give me more love, or did he give me moments to where I could be more love? Watch this. Watch this. I asked for wealth. Did God give me wealth? Or did he give you every moment from the request to become wealthy? Let me ask you this. Which areas of your life can poverty exist and you still become wealthy? Is there any area of your life that poverty can exist, disease can exist in your body, and you're healthy? Why do you think they have, when they're able to transplant organs, need a heart transplant? The rest of my body's good, but my heart is failing. Am I still healthy? The rest of me could be healthy, but my heart's failing. I'm going to die. I need 2 kidneys. One of them's bad. Other one's going bad. Do I need to, somebody gives me their kidney. The rest of my body can perform. It's failing because the kidney's not doing its job. What is your mental capacity not doing, causing illness in the rest of your body when the rest of your body wouldn't be sick, wouldn't be poor if it wasn't for your thoughts, which create your emotions, which create your results, which create your actions, which create your results. Is this making sense? So, shake it out, shake it out, shake it out, shake it out, shake it out. So, if you were to draw a line in the sand right now, where would you draw it? In front of you or behind you? Are you ready to start? Or have you not yet finished? Draw the line behind you. Close your eyes for just a second. So for those of you that might be new to this imagery, we always talk about drawing a line in the sand, and I'm done. I'm drawing a line in the sand. And I'm ready to fight. I'd like you to take a little bit different view of that. I want you to stand there and I want you to imagine that you're about to draw a line in the sand. Wait a second. Don't bend down and draw it yet. Hang on with me. In front of you is the gap. In front of you is a gap. In front of you is a cavern. In front of you is a canyon. Could be a foot across, could be 1,000 foot across, depending upon how big the gap is between where you are and where you want to get to. Follow me on this. We're about to draw a line. Go ahead and close your eyes for just a moment. And I want you to see you're standing at the edge of this gap, the edge of this canyon. If you're afraid of heights, I want you to allow that feeling, the fear of heights to step in. We're not worried about fear of heights, but if you have this little fear when you're looking down and you see the bottom of the canyon is 100 foot down, 500 foot down, 1,000 foot down, and you're about to draw the line, listen carefully. You have a choice. I'm not going to suggest where you draw it, but I'm going to give you some options of where you can draw your line. I want you to imagine that your toes are right to the edge of the gap. Now you're safe. You don't have to look down, but your toes are right at, there's no space between you and the gap. Follow me on this. Listen to these words. So you have to draw a line. And when you decide to draw the line, if there's no space between you and the gap, your current situation, listen carefully. In that gap is everything that you think you need, everything you think you have to find or become or do, or skills or talents or resources. They're all in the gap. In your quantum experience, are not all of those things in the gap available to you? They're available to you. You just have to figure out what is in the gap. And these are what we ask for in tools. I need to get better at prospecting and conversations and follow-up. All of those things are in the gap. Follow me? I need to get better at receiving. So with your eyes closed, I want you to realize you're standing on the edge of the gap. Toes right at the edge. There's no space to write a line in front of you. So I want you to energetically, I want you to emotionally, I want you to physically, I want you to transform your position to the other side of the gap, where your heels are now facing the gap. Your back, you are on the other side of the gap. And on the other side of the gap, you now have instant access to anything that's in the gap, because it's behind you. It's already a part of your source. You've already crossed the gap. And now I want you to draw the line at your heels. There's just enough space between the gap and your heels for you to draw the line behind you. Go ahead and draw that line. Reach down, bend down to get a stick, whatever it is, and reach behind you and draw the line. And now you're starting your new race. You finished the old one. It's finished. The line is behind you. You have started a new race. The line, your heels are right on the edge of the line. You have just finished this race of fear and doubt and lack and confusion. And now you're starting the race of clarity, of abundance, of possibility, of opportunity, of creativity, of experience, of new awareness, of letting go of what didn't work and picking up what does work. And now imagine everything in the gap is a resource. It's not an unknown, it's a resource. You can always come back to this line without ever having to go back on the other side of the gap. You can always come back to this side of the line and reach into the gap and say, okay, I need that. I have that available to me. So feel it in your body that this new race has begun. This new path has started. And it doesn't matter what the target is, what the finish line is for you, 50,000, 100,000, 500,000, 1,000,000, 2,000,000, 5,000,000. It doesn't matter where the end line is. You've started this new race. And would it be fair to say that you're beginning a new race that is a new skill for you? And now we're going to use emotion in all of the things that we do. We're going to ask, what is the filter I choose to use in this new race? In a conversation with Heather, you heard her use the word proud. This race that she is in, she is going to run it with pride. Very proud energy. The way she gives, the way she receives. Can you receive with pride? So I want you to imagine that when you are struggling, when you feel you're getting sideways, when you're getting kicked in the gut, when you're getting thrown in the ditch, you have to ask yourself, which side of the line are you on? Are you in the gap or on the other side of the canyon? Are you on the start side of the canyon and you are running your race that way? Bring yourself back to this moment, healthier than you've ever been, more energized than you've ever been, actively aware, activating your prefrontal cortex, understanding that you get to drive emotions into your mammalian brain, and shake it out. So what we just did, let me share with you a couple of things we just did. We just activated your neuroplasticity. When we understand that limiting beliefs, it's just a belief that hasn't reached its potential. Doesn't that make sense? It's not a limiting belief. My beliefs are growing. Any limiting belief you have, if it needs to be watered, fertilized, and grow, is just a belief I get to grow. I don't go out to my garden when my tomato plants are just coming up and go, oh, those are limiting tomato plants. Right? How many of you have ever planted something? Even if you went to the store and bought the plants that are already growing, but they're little plants. They're not fruiting plants. They're not harvest yet worthy plants. You have the challenge in today's fast-paced social society, social media, microwave success stories. We try to make their chapter 27 our chapter 2. It doesn't work that way. My chapter 59 doesn't work for your chapter 42. You get that? Drop a 1 if you get that. The society and social media constantly makes us go, oh, they got a chapter 53. I got to get a chapter. I'm on chapter 2. I got to make my chapter 2. They're 53. It doesn't work that way. Now, your chapter 3 doesn't have to be 42 pages long. It can be 1 page. Write down my chapters can be 1 page. You don't have to write a whole freaking story. When you guys start telling me the stories about what happened last week or how you were last, you're back to chapter 2. You were on chapter 15. Why are you going back to tell me about I don't need to know your chapter 2. Nobody needs to know your chapter 2. You might want to write that down. No one needs to know my chapter 2. Until somebody wants to know why you're credible in this place. The reason I tell you that I barely made it through high school, I'm a 6-time, 5-time right now, best-selling author, #1 best-selling author. I've stood on stage in 30+ countries, been translated into over 40 different languages. So you know that my chapter 59 has some freaking value. So I have credibility. Do you know what credibility you create when you talk about how you're not good enough? You create the credibility that you're not good enough. Your tomato plant isn't going to grow. Stop talking about your chapter 2. Tell me about the chapters that are to come. When we get to know each other later and I say, okay, so tell me about your chapter 2. Oh, okay, I can tell you about my chapter 2. This making sense? Drop a Y in the chat for yes or N for no. Is this making sense? Guess what my daddy said? If it makes sense, it'll make dollars. So let me teach you again. What we talked about, what happened so far this morning, and we can do this for every belief that we have. We talked about neuroplasticity. It's about creating new pathways in the brain, right? Neuroplasticity. It's about creating new neural connections. Some of you have done the gap and the line meditation with me before. Was it different? Was it the same thing, or was it kindly a little bit different this time? Because you are now a different person. Here's the challenge. Language without emotion. And most people, when we get around goal setting, when we get around goal actions, when we get around affirmations, we get very logical. You know how I know we get very logical? You want to know if somebody's operating from logic or emotion? You know, what's the biggest thing most people ask for? I'm going to go to an industry I'm familiar with. Sales. Not just network marketing, sales. If anybody is new to sales, what's the first thing they're going to ask their trainer, their coach? They're going to ask them how and strategy, which correlates to what? Tell me what to say. How do I say it? Any of you have ever been asked or been asked? So what do you say? How do you get people to join your business? What do you say? What's your script? Give me your script. Anybody ever ask for a script? What happens if I give you the best script? Is it going to work the first time? Maybe. Do you realize that language without emotion fails? It falls flat. It doesn't produce the result we want. It doesn't fail. It produces a result we don't want. And so if we don't ever add emotion to it and we keep getting the result we don't want, what's a book they write? Go for no. Oh, I'm supposed to be going for no. No, you're not. You are not supposed to be going for no. You are supposed to find the no. No is when the sale starts. But you don't go for no so that you can wind up at the end of your presentation with a no. Will you get a lot of no's based upon the goal you have? Hell yeah, you will. But are they saying no to you or no to themselves? They're just saying, you haven't given me enough information to say yes. So we set a goal purely with words. I want to lose 20 pounds, or I want to get out of debt, or they feel lifeless. They lack emotional energy. The language is the rational part. We can rationalize our goal. How many of us decided on a goal and said, okay, let me make it a little bit more realistic? Or we set a goal that's possible. Like we got excited and energized about it. And we go, I don't know if I could do that, but I'll go for it. I'll just keep going for it. How many of us, when we were in grade school, were in a relationship? Listen carefully. Now, maybe it's very few of you. But how many of us were in a relationship that the other person didn't know they were in a relationship with us? Drop a 1 in the chat. I would be dropping a 1 in the chat. I was in a lot of relationships that the other person didn't know they were in a relationship with me. Oh, wouldn't that be neat? Wouldn't that be awesome? Mary Louise Fillinger kissed me on the cheek in 2nd grade. Second grade. So we need to add that, and I can still feel the emotion of it. So as we're going through this process, I want you to write down these questions. Write down your goal of financial. I want to create, I want, I know the word want, but just for now, follow me along. I want, and write your number, 5 million at the end of 2025. I want 150 at the end of 2025. I want, write it down. We're just going with finances because that's the big one that most people focus on. All of them, we talked about it yesterday. In order to have finances, there's certain areas of our life we really need to focus on, right? Mind would be one. So if I want finances, I should never have to worry about finances again. Think about it, talk about it. I got to go work on my mind. I got to work on the pillar of my mind, which means I got to take care of self, which is why this is called decision of self. The 150,000 is out there. You want more value? Bring more value. Every one of you can bring $1 million worth of value, $10 million worth of value. It's, you've got to be exposed to, imagine if all you did, my mentor would say, listen, you want $1 million a year? Just go make 1 million friends and ask each one of them, send me $1 for my birthday. Who wouldn't want to send you $1 for your birthday if they're your friend? Would you all want to send me $1 for my birthday? Just $1. Do that $1 million a year, just simply for your birthday. And people would be happy. Some might send $2. So here's the questions. Here's the emotional questions. When I ask you, when I say, you've heard me on these calls, for those of you that are new, when I'm about to come for you, if you will, as people would say it, I have this phrase I said, you know, I love you, right? We're about to get really emotional, which is why I preface it, which is why I start the battle between me and your old self with, you know, I love you, right? The one that resists when you show up and you want to go, well, that's stupid, or I can't do that. I'm coming for you. And it starts with, you know, I love you, right? Yes. And you watch the person go, yes, I know you love me. Now we can go after the emotion. There's no emotion in having to deal with logic. Can you get 10 grand a month? Yes. Can you get 20 grand a month? Yes. There's no lot. It's almost illogical that to think you can. So here's the first question. Why is this number important to you? And this is going to be some of your homework. Why is this going to be important to you? Why is this important? Why is that goal important? Here's the next question. You're going to have to do this work on your own, because this is some what's called facilitated introspection. You may want to write that word down and Google it later. Facilitated introspection. What would achieving this goal allow me to do? And you can write all of the things that would allow, pay off debt, have no credit card fees, have no credit card debt, be abundant in my savings. I would allow me to start saving more. These are emotional questions, and it is going to be required. I can't make you do it. But if you want to achieve your goal, if you want to jumpstart, you're going to need to ask these questions a few times to get to the core, to get to the hidden answer that's hiding underneath your old story. How will you feel when you achieve the goal? How does it feel to achieve this goal? Which means what? You have to put your mind in a state of gratitude that it's already done. Here's the big emotion. Some of you were at the ranch when we did the Dickens effect, the Dickens session. What's the cost of not achieving this goal? What's the cost of staying where you are for the next 5 years? How does that feel? See, the way I can make somebody do something they don't want to do is one thing: emotion. Can I find the emotion that gets down inside? Was it Archimedes? Who was the person that said, Give me a lever and a fulcrum big enough and I can move the world. Some mathematics stoic said that. Give me a fulcrum and a lever big enough and I can move the world. Fulcrum is the thing you rested on. And so many of us, if my arm is the fulcrum, is the lever that I'm going to use to try to pick up your fear and doubt, some of you are right out here. There's no way you get any leverage. I could put a pound over here, and if I put my tipping point really close to me, I don't have enough leverage. But if I put that tipping point way down here, you could put 100 pounds on here. You could put 1,000 pounds on here. If this lever is strong enough. So what I'm doing in the course of this 15 sessions is finding your lever and removing your fulcrum, the place you're going to tip on, the point you're going to operate from, closer to your issues. Then it becomes a no-brainer. So now we need to create an anchor. I want you to image this with me. You've got a boat. You got a boat in the water. Could be a lake, could be the ocean. Let's just say it's a lake so that we don't have to go too deep in the water. And we drop an anchor. We drop an anchor. What does the anchor do? What does the anchor do? Well, in a boat, the anchor allows us to stabilize a distance from something. Doesn't keep us from moving. Think about it. Does an anchor keep you from moving? No, you're still floating on the water. The wind blows. Can't you, if you set the anchor and the wind is blowing out of the north, don't you float back to the south? Right? And that anchor holds you. And what if the wind changes? Doesn't the boat move? So an anchor doesn't keep you from moving. It keeps you at a safe distance. And we need to create an emotional anchor with visualization that keeps us anchored to our goal, not anchored to our fear. So imagine it's important for you to create an emotional statement around your goal. So we're going to go back to the $10,000 example. If you close your eyes, imagine it's December 2025. You've just checked your checking account. What is this? This is the physiology. You're actually in your mind doing things. You just checked your checking account and there's $10,000 saved. You see your annual income for the year was $150,000. Whatever the number is, just pick the number. You just checked your checking account and you see there's been this amount of money flow through it. You've saved a bunch, you've invested a bunch, you've spent a bunch, but you just see the total number of the income. It's December 2025 and you've got a certain amount of income that's come into your account. Do you know that feeling? I want you to imagine that feeling that when you're anxious and looking at something, right? Maybe you're sitting in a chair and you're anxious and looking at something and you see it and you go, ugh. I want you to do that. I want you to physically do that. I want you to get tense. I want you to feel energy in your body. You're getting ready to hit the enter button, right? You've entered in your code your password and everything else to get into your checking account. And you're like nervous going, oh, what's the number? What's the number? Oh, you just finished a commission run. It's the beginning of December. It's December 5th, 6th, 2025. And you're getting ready to hit because the commission run is run and you want to see what your annual is for the, and you hit the enter button and you know what you want. It needs to be around this number for you to keep the run rate, the momentum going for December. And you hit the enter button and you see that the computer, the little squirrel going, the circle, and it pops up and there's your screen. And you look and the number is bigger than you expected. And physically let your body go, oh. You know you're ahead of schedule. I want you to feel that. I want you to feel that anxiousness. I want you to feel it go away. I want you to feel this level of pride, this level of, oh my gosh, we did more than we ever did. Okay, shake it off, 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 shake everything off. Right? Get yourself, I want you to raise your energy. Don't need to get yelling or screaming, but you can. You'll, yes. Okay, yes. Pump your fists a little bit. Yes, yes, yes. Ooh. Right? Roll your shoulders, roll your shoulders. Okay, we're going to go through it again. You ready? We're going to go through it again. I need you to get physical with me. I need you to move your body. I need you to move your body. Physiology, focus, language, and meaning. Right now, we're going to go do this again. We're going to start again. We're going to go and we're getting ready to log into the computer. Close your eyes. Imagine you're typing in your keyword. You're looking into your bank account, your back office, whatever it is. You're getting ready to go in. You're like, oh, it's December 6th. The commission runs have done. Oh, I know this is the number we need to be at. This will keep me on my run rate. This is the number. So you're typing in your username, your email address, you're typing in your password, and you're like, oh, you got some people maybe around you getting ready to look with you. They're looking over your shoulders. You can feel them and you're like, oh, I don't know. Oh, feel it. Feel the tension, feel the stress. Put your body in stress. Right. You're nervous to hit the button. You're nervous to hit the button. Now you're like, oh, and it's already, all you got to do is hit the enter button. You hit the enter button and it's going to log in. It's going to go poof, and it's going to go right to your back office. It's going to go right to your banking account. And you're getting ready and you're like, oh, I know the number. I know the number. Oh, I think we did it. I think we did it. I'm pretty sure you hit the number and you lean in and you look and you're real and you want to focus just on that number and you see it and it's bigger than you expected. And you're like, and let your body fall back. Feel it. Feel it. Unmute. Tell me what you're feeling right now. Unmute. Tell me what you're feeling right now. Tell me what you're. Go ahead.
Excitement.
Okay. Can you bottle that up? You know that you can have it. Can you bottle that up? Can you bottle that up and have that excitement, have that level of excitement for every little bit of growth? Isn't that better than saying I'm going to create $500,000 in 2025?
Absolutely.
Do you realize? So now the question is was that a $500,000 excitement? Here's the great news, Diane. You now have a starting point. You have crossed the gap. Do you realize it? You just crossed the gap. You've never had the excitement of opening up your back office and seeing $500,000 in income for a year. You now have that excitement. You are on the other side of the gap. You were on this side of the gap before we did that exercise. You follow me? Listen, I need your body to hear this. I need your subliminal mind to hear this. I need your limbic system. There's no words in your limbic system. Your limbic system cannot hear what I'm saying, but it can feel the energy. You were on this side of the gap until we did that exercise. Soon as you did that, and mentally, emotionally, physically in your body, you cross the gap. Pretty big gap. You cross the gap. You're safe on the other side with this level of excitement. And now you get to build from there. You get to take that level of excitement throughout the rest of today and start to turn it up a little bit. And the only thing different between now and next month of $10,000 a month is that excitement, because the universe says, Diane Sweeney, if that's the level of excitement you have, we can deliver that. What you think about and think about, we will give you. Can you sit in gratitude with that feeling? Can you sit in faith with that feeling? Can you sit in belief with that feeling? How often does that feeling need to be present for it to show up? All the time. That is now the new standard. Can you operate from that standard? That is where the old stories and all of the arrows and everything else and all of the tomatoes and the shoestrings you trip over and the heel mark, everything is going to come at you, because this is a new idea. This is a new seedling. What do they do for seedlings in a garden where there's animals? They put a fence around it, don't they? Do you think the tomato plant knows there's a fence? The tomato plant's like, I'm just going to be me, baby. But because we want to take care of the tomato plant, we put a fence around it. Can you go build your mental fence around that tomato plant, around this idea of the $500,000, around this idea of excitement? Can you go build a fence around excitement? What's the best way for excitement to stay excited? Plant more excitement around it. Wouldn't it make sense now that if your financial excitement is at this level, wouldn't it make sense for your body excitement to be at this level? And your mind excitement to be at this level? And your society excitement to be at this level? That's why you've been walking around and for the last year and people are like, oh, I need you on a podcast. Could you be a part of this mastermind? You're like, what the heck's going on here? Didn't you already plant excitement? Don't you see where you've already planted excitement throughout your life over the last year? You're like, oh my goodness. Y'all getting this? And so that's an emotional anchor.
It's just when you feel things coming to you, and it's that part of receiving too, right?
And that's the big part. So have you ever been on the lake in a boat?
Yep.
Have you ever went out to meet somebody, or where you were out there and told somebody to meet you on the lake?
Mhm.
Suppose you showed up there's a place here on Greers Ferry Lake called Goat Island.
Yep.
If I told you to come to Goat Island, would you expect me to be at Goat Island?
Yeah.
Yeah. The challenge is that if I don't anchor myself to Goat Island, when I called you, I was at Goat Island, but the wind was blowing pretty hard and I didn't set my anchor. You'd be like, I'm at Goat Island, Sean. Where are you? Oh, well, we blew away. I'm like, for the love of God, now where are you? Now I got to go find you. So the emotional anchor is Goat Island. Now we're going to write this down, a hedonic, Hedonic. Hedonic. Hedonism or hedonics is the ability for you to control your own joy. So I'm going to teach you a little bit about hedonics. Right? Maybe you've heard of the resort that's an adult resort called hedonism, right? It's all about passion and romance and everything else. It's just this hedonistic place. Well, we need to be a little hedonistic about our dreams. And it's called a hedonic anchor. So it's about celebrating with a small, meaningful action. You've all heard me talk about this. What's your reward? Diane, I'm going to ask you, what's your reward for allowing you to feel this level of excitement? It could be adding another drop of cream to your coffee or putting whipped cream on top of it doesn't have to be, I got to go get myself a 10-carat diamond ring. What is the little joy? Maybe it's writing down a gratitude. Today, I felt excitement. Thank you, Diane. And you thank yourself. But the reason, I don't want to say all, that's an all-encompassing. The reason so many people fail, their emotional excitement, is because they don't have a hedonic anchor to allow the excitement to stay alive. Emotionally, Diane and I are talking, say we're talking today, and Diane, the weekend's coming. and we're going to go out. You want to go out on the lake? Yeah, I'd love to go out on the lake. Okay, let's meet. Let's get you. You want to go to Goat Island? We haven't been there in a while. Oh my gosh, we're going to Goat Island. Okay, I'll bring the dogs and you bring the burgers, and we'll have a little barbecue there on the island, and we'll just enjoy. I'll bring the big raft. We'll blow up the raft. We'll be able to sit and float in there and have some cocktails. This is going to be excitement. Y'all feel, how many of you would like to go to Goat Island with me and Diane right now? But if we don't set the anchor of the small little actions, we lose it. We don't become responsible for our own success. That's what hedonics is. And nobody teaches this. We talk about it in psychology. We talk about why are they not, listen carefully. You already have a hedonic anchor. It's just anchored to your old story. What? It's anchored to your, you ready? You ready? You may want to sit down. You know what your hedonic anchor is anchored to? Your comfort zone. I got to get out of my comfort zone. I made just a little more than I did last year, or less than I did last year, and I'm still struggling. You have a hedonic anchor to your average. It's already there because you reward yourself for your lack. I don't reward myself. Oh, it's called a negative reward. But it's you body, you are only where you're at based upon how you choose your rewards. What should I hear? Bonus. But your brain is even too tired to say that.
Triple bonus.
Triple bonus. See, you're already tied to it. I got to take a picture here real quick. Dubby and Beamish are on the same bed. That doesn't normally happen. Hey, Seamus. What you doing, buddy? So yeah, your hedonic anchor is currently set to your old story. It's why you can't move. Now, anybody ever been on a boat? Anybody ever been on a boat and needed to pick up and you set the anchor and they said, would you go up and pull the anchor? Now, depending upon how big the boat is, right? I used to captain our boat. It was a 50-foot Fed ship. I used to captain our boat. And when you would drop the anchor, it was a 70-pound anchor. You were not pulling it up. You needed to use a winch. But you went up front to pull the anchor so you could guide the captain. So I'd send my brother up front, or I would go up front to pull the anchor, and I'd have my brother guide the boat up, and I'd point in which direction to where the anchor is. Why would I do that? Because in order for a Danforth anchor, a Danforth anchor is the one that you see on the big sides of ships. It's got the two big hooks on it, the two big points on it. And when you drop it in the water, the shackle, the shank that's holding up the anchor, allows the forks to dig in. And the reason you want to get right above the anchor is so that you can pull the forks out of the sand. Now, that's all imagery that your subconscious is going, yeah, I got it. That makes sense. Your conscious mind is going, what the hell is he talking about? Don't worry about the conscious mind. Let the subconscious mind do its job. I'm talking to your subconscious mind. And we've got to get right over the problem. We got to get right over the problem so that we can lift it out of the sand. You have to decide you're going to do one or two things. If the anchor gets stuck, do you leave the boat out there? If you've ever been boating enough, you've lost an anchor. So what do you do? What do you do? Type it in the chat. Say it out loud. What do you do? If you can't get the anchor out from the, it's hooked under a rock, and it wedged itself in there, and it's hooked under a rock. What do? You cut the line.
Yeah.
You cut the line. The challenge is you've got 1,000 anchors out called your old story, and you're afraid to cut the line. Imagine the boat you're on in the middle of the ocean, middle of the lake, wherever it is. Imagine there's lines off of every cleat. There's lines going forward. There's lines going side. You can't even move. How many of you feel stuck? How many of you really wanted to put a boat into a non-moving position, how many anchors would you need to set? Throw it out. Just type it in the chat. Say it out loud. How many anchors do you think you'd need to set? I want you to imagery. I want you to visualize this. How big is your boat? You got a little John boat. You only need a handful of anchors. None of you are operating in a John boat. I can tell you that. A little metal boat, a little metal skiff. Some of you have got luxury liners. And that's okay. You can operate from a luxury liner. You deserve to be operating at this huge, big boat, a cabin cruiser, a huge boat. How many anchors would you need to keep that thing without moving? It can flex right to the stretch of the rope, but it ain't moving. You can gas it. How many of you could, if you imagine giving that boat full throttle and it's not moving, you can see the wake behind the churn, you see all of you hear the noise, that you are busy, that you're using fuel, you're expending energy, and you're not moving. I now want you to go around, close your eyes. I want you to close your eyes for just a second. If you're in a safe space, I want you to close your eyes. I want you to imagine your ship. If you've never been on a boat, that's okay. Imagine what it's like. I want you to be able to walk around the edge of that boat with this magical sword, with this sword of light, of life, of love. And it's just this sword that's lit up. What color is your sword? What color is this blade that you're about to carry? Is it your favorite color? Is it purple? Is it spiritual in nature? Is it white? Is it gold in color? It's the sharpest sword that's ever existed. And you don't even know. Listen, do you think there's anybody that got on your boat and go, well, we need to set another anchor? I want to make sure I'm safe in your boat. I said another. Do you think there's some anchors that were set by other people? Drop a Y in the chat or an N. Yes, for other people have set anchors on my boat, or no? I want you to imagine. I just want you to feel this. I want you to experience that. When you start looking at all the anchors around your boat, you're going to realize, holy crap, I only set one. Where the hell did all these other ropes go? And you don't even know how far the anchors are out. And the problem is you can't go pick up the anchor off the starboard side because of the anchors that are on the port side. You are literally stuck. I want you to feel that. You are literally stuck. So many people have set anchors on your boat. You can't even go. You want to go. You want to go pick up the anchors. You want to. Listen, I think it's good. I could sell some of these anchors, but you can't even move because there are so many anchors. You can't get any freedom. You can't get any movement in one direction. So you say, screw it. Say that, screw it. I'm done. I'm done being here in this spot. I'm done being stuck. And you take your sword, your blue sword, Shammy, you take your golden sword, and you just start. You don't even have to swing hard. You just drop it down along the side of the boat, and you just start walking around the boat. And you can hear the tension on these ropes. You ever see one of those cruise ships in the storms where the rope is around the cleat on the dock, and you hear it stretch, and then you hear it pop? Pow! You start to cut these things, and some of the stress on them is unbelievable. And you hear pow, pow, pow. And you just keep cutting the rope. You just keep cutting it. And all of a sudden, you feel the boat start to move. So you got to hold on. Wait a minute. My boat's moving. You go back and you see the throttles are on full throttle. You are exhausted. You are expending your energy. And you're like, wait a minute. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I can back off on my energy now for just a second till I get all of my anchors free. So you back off on the energy. You pull the throttle back. You put it into neutral. You give yourself a break right now because you are starting a new journey and you got to know which way you're going to go, but you got to get free first. You don't want to get tangled up, right? You've seen people where they've tangled up the ropes in their prop. You don't want to tangle. So you shut the engines down. You give yourself a break right now in this moment. And you're cutting every limiting belief. I'm not enough. Imagine these ropes are all your limiting beliefs. I'm too old. I'm not good at this business. I'm not strong enough. I don't sleep well. I don't eat good. Keep cutting them. Just let them. And every time they cut, they go away. Look back at where you've just cut. Are any of those beliefs there? No, they're no longer tied to you. Keep going. Keep cutting them. What are some other limiting beliefs you have? Keep cutting them. Pow, pow, pow. Some of them, they're not that strong. But every one of these you cut, you're around to the other side of the boat now. And you can really start to feel the boat starting to move. It almost has an energy about it that it's going in the direction you want. You see where your goal is. You see where your target is. You know that you can get to it. You're now just cutting it and you're down to the last one. And this is your biggest anchor. This is your biggest anchor. What is that? What had just popped up in your mind? What just popped up in your energy? Your biggest anchor, the biggest thing holding you back. What is it? I'm unlovable. I'm not worthy. I'm not enough. What is it? Feel it. You don't even want to see it again. You could easily pull this anchor to the top, but you're not going to do that. But it's the biggest thing I have. It's the thing that's kept me. No, no more. I want you to reach down and I want you to cut that anchor. I want you to cut your biggest limiting belief right now. Feel the freedom. Feel the boat start to move. The boat literally kind of launched itself. And it's moving. You now have freedom to go do, to go where, to go when, to go how, to go with, to go what you ever choose. And you decide to go back to the controls of the boat. Whatever it is, whatever the captain's area is of your boat, whether it's the little handle on a little outboard motor or it's the throttles for a twin engine cabin cruiser or a luxury ship. And I want you to engage the props. Just one little click. Feel the props, feel the energy, feel your focus, feel your drive engaging. The boat stops drifting and it starts moving forward. And you look on the horizon and you see your goal. Could be off to the left, off to the right. Which way is your goal? Could be dead ahead. Could be you've always been facing it. Could be behind you. Where is your goal? Look, literally turn your head as you're doing this meditation. Turn your head. Where is it? Where does it feel best for you to focus on? Left, right, center, behind. Turn the wheel. Imagine you're turning the wheel. You're turning the way to the rudder. You're adjusting the rudder. You're sending the ship in the right direction. And maybe for the first time, you're truly heading towards your goal, free of all of the anchors. And there's a part of you that says, but when I get towards my goal, if I need to take a break, I need another anchor. Magically, the anchor of success, the anchor of movement, the anchor of freedom shows up. And what's neat about this anchor is that anytime you need a rest, you can metaphorically drop it. It will hold you stationary until you pick it up and you're ready to move again. You look at your fuel gauges and your fuel gauges were on empty. And you just say, I have more fuel now. And you see the gauges rising. Say it again. I have more fuel now. I operate from abundance. And you look down and you open your eyes and the gauges are filled. You have all the fuel you need. Your compass is clear and calibrated, and you are heading in the right direction. Allow this emotional energy to flow into your primordial brain. Feel it activating your subconscious and bringing you new strategies. Right now, you're thinking of new ways to do things, new things to do. And this is your new path. You are now truly the captain of your ship. Bring yourself back to this moment in time. Feel your energy healthier than you've ever been and more control than you've ever had. Happier and healthier with more energy, feeling lighter, feeling brighter. Open your eyes and welcome home. Look for things that are red around you. Activating your prefrontal cortex. What are some things red around you? Thoughts, comments, takeaways. What'd you learn? What'd you like?
I thought I knew what free meant until those lines were being cut. And I'm not very familiar with boating, but boy, did I could hear the pops. It was amazing. I was always facing there, but I wasn't moving.
But the engines were running
Full blast.
full blast.
And the fuel was being used up. That was amazing. I could
And-
feel the jolt of the last string. I felt it, and then had to tone down this full blast. But
Isn't
not
it funny? Isn't it
Oh.
funny how it doesn't take a lot of throttle to move?
no. Well, yes, as I was visualizing it, no, it didn't take much at all.
And it doesn't. Once you free yourself. Now you can go fast. The key is we want to point in the right direction before we hit the throttle. Right? This is a Covey moment. You can climb the ladder as fast as you want. Just make sure it's against the right wall.
Right.
So love it, love it, love it.
Thank you. That was amazing.
And listen, I want to thank all of you for being here this morning because none of that was in my notes. Not one letter of that, syllable of that was in any of my notes. I just asked this morning, I said, I want to give such a visual picture. And I had some different descriptions, but none of it was that. So thank you all for doing that. And thanks, Diane, for taking me to Goat Island. Who else? Thoughts, comments, questions, takeaways? What'd you learn? What'd you like?
Good
I could
morning,
see-
my friend.
Good morning, Mr. Bob Kane. Then we'll go to Diane.
So, two thoughts.
Yep.
One, as we go on our journey here, I feel it as kind of being in the dark and not knowing where to go.
Okay.
And what I feel I'm searching for is that light.
Yep.
That light at the end of the tunnel, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And once you see that, okay, now you know you have your ladder up against the right wall.
Right.
The other thought I had as I pondered my goals and my journey overnight was fear.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, I have goals and I've got a dollar amount I want to achieve in income. And I have rank in the company I partnered with that will achieve that. But there's also responsibilities
Mhm.
with that role. And a lot of them I'm 100% great with and it would be excited to have. And others, like the additional commitment of time and the responsibility of being there for others, and that then taking me away from other responsibilities, there's a concern. So yeah, two things that I came through, and one more thing to share. Talked about commitment and being there for others. My friend in Arkansas who was committed to only being here for an hour. And so I thank you for so much more.
So here's a couple of things to work on while you're out on steel or you're mucking out the stalls.
Yep.
Imagine the highest version of you So
Okay.
if you go into a meditation, you allow the highest version of you, you allow a version of the highest version, literally another avatar. You tell it, hey, listen, do me a favor, go out and run the light out to the horizon so I know where to find it. You ask you to go set the light, not somebody else. I need you to put me in the right direction, because the Akashic records, God force, everything knows where you need to go. If you set the goal saying, I want to feel like this, I want to do this, and I want to be able to have all of this capability and capacity and responsibility. So first thing you do is you set the compass. So send a version of you out to go put the light on a post. Got it? Next thing you want to do is this fear that you have of commitment, that you build lieutenants who can be the ones, you build an army of lieutenants, 6, 7, 8 of them, that every one of them can fill all of the gaps. Because once you get to this level to where you're out at the light, when you're at the light, you have to be focusing on the light. You can't be focusing on everybody to follow in the path. You need lieutenants to do that. So now imagine that as you go through this process, you will have a level of commitment, but the second it starts to affect your family, which is what you're working for, your number one goal is your family, your grandkids, you
Right.
have to put a lieutenant in place. You have to delegate. So say I become so brilliant at delegating at the right moment in the right place so that I can continue to lead my family and leave my legacy.
I like that.
Feel that
I
difference?
like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're
And in
okay.
that process, I'm blessing those lieutenants.
Bingo. So now it's truly about giving.
Yeah. 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 Awesome. Thank you for that perspective.
Yeah, there you go. Love it. And here's the great news is that you did have the fear, and that was a fear holding you back. So that's another rope that just got cut.
Absolutely.
And so now what you can do is say, hey, listen, you guys can set your anchors, but know that we're all working on this together.
Yeah.
Now, when you need to hit a mark, you've got these other lieutenants. And listen, they're part of your mastermind energetically. They don't have to take shape. They can show up as energy until they take shape and somebody shows up, and it's called a Sally, or it's called a Samantha, or it's called a Tony. And then
Okay.
Tony shows up and fills that energy. But right now, go ahead and fill your lieutenants with energy going, guys, gals, ladies, germs, ladies and germs, we're about to go do this. I need you to let me continue to lead, and I'm going to need you guys to step up. You all ready? And you'll hear them as a chorus say yes. And now all of a sudden that's taken care of.
I have struggled, and we've had conversation about my DMP.
Yep.
And I think I may have shared this before.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm kind of locked in hardcore in concrete at this point.
Yep.
And that is to become all I'm capable of being.
Yep.
And help others do the same
So now your
in a
conversation,
variety of ways.
the conversation is to allow them to have it, but it has to be the feeling. Imagine the feeling of becoming the best version of you, and allow those lieutenants, the dozen around you, them being the best version of themselves.
Right.
And it's
Yeah.
still, it's the vibration is the chorus of listening to Mozart's Fifth Symphony, but everyone's playing their own instrument. This is why what Napoleon Hill talked about, or what Carnegie talked about, they said, how are you the richest man in steel and you don't know how to make steel? He says, because I have the hardest job on the planet. I get 26 men to work in harmony.
Yeah. And in some of the greatest successes I've had, I was part of a wonderful group of souls. I just happened to have been selected to lead it, but everyone contributed. We did it as a collective. We did it together. We did it as a family, truly.
Yep.
We
So then
created that
imagine that.
atmosphere.
Imagine that energy and allow them just to be bolts of lightning. You don't have to put a face to it or put a who to it, but put a why to it. they're here because they want to be a part of this mission, this vision. We feed into each other. See their energy flowing into you. See your energy flowing into them. And in that visualization, right, Wallace D. Wattles says, a thought held in the substance will produce the thing held by the thought.
Right.
So now know that the thought you're having is building a community, is building a team.
I'm so freaking excited.
I love it.
I'm supposed to be an old retired fart who's got my feet up, and I'm not going to slow down.
Nope, no reason to.
None at all. None at all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Enjoy an amazing day.
I will. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Love you. I get to go Friday, tomorrow, and Saturday to our last mastermind of the year with Kyle Wilson. So
Okay.
that's exciting.
Hey, can you do me a favor?
Yes.
Can you please, for me, thank Kyle and the rest in your group for how they help my friend become the best version of him that he can be? Can you thank them for me?
I will do that.
Thank you. God bless. Safe
God
travel.
Thanks, my brother. Thank you.
All right.
Who else? Thoughts, comments? What'd you learn? What'd you like? What was your biggest takeaway? Take with you?
When you talked about the hedonic, it really hit me then about that emotional part. And then you did the visual with the boat and the anchors. It having that visual, it really secured it for me.
It was a good visual, wasn't it?
It was amazing.
I was saying it. I'm like, oh my, and so the one anchor, but then all of the anchors around all of the ropes, we don't know how far they are. We don't. And I saw somebody come on and throw an anchor on my boat. And I went, who the hell are you throwing an anchor on my boat? And well, oh, they're throwing it on everybody's boat. See, I thought it was just mine. I'm like, no, everybody's boat. You could literally walk on the ropes on the anchors around my boat.
It was. So JM3 yourself.
Yeah, baby.
Yes. Yes. So thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that
thank
was
you.
so good. I'm like, I hope this is translating. Part of me said, part of me when I was cutting goes, screw this. I got to take care of my boat right now. So I'm glad that transferred for you, Diane.
So here's to going forward. So thank you.
Here's to
Thank you.
going
Thank you.
Love it. How many of you feel a little just relief? You feel like you actually got some movement going. It's neat. You're getting out of the stagnant water. There's a new fresh smell. There's just everything. The engines or the temperature on the engines are coming down. The stress is coming down. You're operating in normal now, and you're literally moving faster than you've ever moved before.
The weights are coming off.
Yeah. Oh, it's just. I love that. I'm going to use that a lot.
Sean, there was an odor of fuel burning, but it wasn't producing anything. And that once all of once all of my ropes were released, that just the little bit of movement was the washing away, I mean, not a breeze, I don't know. Anyway,
Yep.
It wasn't stagnant anymore.
I love it.
That is awesome.
And this is why visualization works so well. You now have this visualization, this emotional understanding, which is here's the neat thing is that we created it through dialogue, but words do not operate in the limbic system of the brain. The limbic system is the emotional energy of the brain. The limbic system operates the amygdala. The amygdala is the fight or flight. And right now with that visual, sending the emotion into the limbic brain, into the primordial brain, it's now it's literally forming an energetic feel around freedom, which is now percolating back up through the primordial brain, into the subconscious brain, into the prefrontal cortex, saying, oh, I no longer need to look at the filter of being anchored down. And now you're creating the reticular formation, which can now allow you to see things and stops this idea, this concept called intentional blindness, and now allows you to see things you didn't see before, simply because the energetic field from the reticular formation that's now created, that's activating the reticular activating system. This is all happening in your brain. None of us have gone on a walk or done 10 miles or done a half marathon. This is all happening in your brain, creating new chemical pathways and new energetic frequencies, new neuroplasticity for you to now
Bonus.
see things in a different way.
Definitely a bonus.
Bonus.
Good morning, Sean.
Good morning, Silky.
I feel unstuck now. Remember, I was
Yes.
stuck yesterday with writing this short article about myself for TED. So now I did start yesterday. I forced myself. I literally had to force myself. But it's like, yeah, I put stuff down. But now, since we cut the lines, I mean, it feels like I'm ready now to organize it and have it done. So thank you, because yeah, I'm so excited because I wanted to get this done yesterday, but it just, I ran out of time. And so now I feel ready to do it. So I'm really excited about that.
So the reason I delayed my response is because I knew we were going to do this morning. I didn't know this morning was going to turn out better than I imagined, but funny how when you start momentum, things usually wind up better than you imagine. But I knew that today would be a big day for you as it related to the article for TED. So that's why I delayed my response, because anything I'd have said yesterday wouldn't have been with this emotion. And I didn't think it was fair to you to give you average.
Well, thank you so much. I thought you were just simply busy. And I know you had a dinner last night. So I thought, okay, Sean is just busy. But I did send you some hugs. So I hope you got the hugs.
I did get the hugs. Yep. Direct from Curtis and Lisa.
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much. So I'm ready to do it now.
You're welcome. And see, there's that phrase, all the difference a day makes. But the key is, I'm in love with this. You guys have been around me for 6 years. You've never heard me give an expression. You've never heard me give a visualization. So this is a 15-day series that I've never done before. Now I've done every bit of it, but this is a Wallace D. Wattles moment. This is a Wayne Dyer moment. Change the way I look at things, and the things I look at change. It's a Wallace D. Wattles moment. It's not about doing the trainings I've done before. It's about doing them in a certain way. And the certain way is showing up that each day you're like, oh my gosh, he's done this, but this is all different. This is doing it in a certain way. So I want you to know that as the teacher, I go through this every day and they keep getting better. I would hope that this was better than something that's been before. Know that if you can see and allow the fact how I'm growing and expanding on a daily basis, that's offered to you as well. And you're doing it. That's why you're on this journey with me. So I love it. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's
Yes,
lovely
because
to meet
it's like a really huge opportunity for me. I have never been offered this opportunity before. So yes, I want to do it, that it sounds good because it's going to have a huge headline. And it's going to be tied exactly to my business and everyone can see it and read it. I mean, how amazing to suddenly out of nowhere be offered this opportunity.
So let me allow you
right yesterday after we got off the call.
Let me allow you a little flexibility. Allow yourself to give yourself some pat on the back. Do you realize that this wouldn't have happened had you not set your goal and showed up?
Yes, I think so. I think.
Not think so. No, you have to know so, my love. You created this. You said, I want to go do a number I've never done before, which means I'm going to have to do things I've never had before. And you've never been offered a right to write in Business from Home magazine, to write an article that goes to 300,000 network marketers. You didn't change. Nothing changed in you, Silky. You didn't get any better in a day. But you asked differently in a day. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is one of the biggest ahas I can ask you to become aware of. She wants to, how many X, 50X your income goal?
Absolutely. Yeah.
She wants to 50X her income goal. It's like, that's like, that's crazy. And guess what? When you go for crazy and you feel crazy, crazy shows up. She gets an email going, hey, listen, we'd like you to write for one of the largest network marketing magazines that's out there.
Yeah. Wow. I was blown away. I'd never been asked that. So
And
not
it
from him.
happened in 72 hours of you setting your goal.
Yes. How incredible is that? I mean, I
It's-
still
it-
can't
it-
wrap
it's
my
an
head around it. I mean, I'm like so excited, and yes, to get
So
this
if
opportunity.
that's what happens in 3 days, guess what's going to happen in 3 months? This is why we need to continue to stay in gratitude, elevate our energy, because you are able to receive this. Now, what happened? You got the gift. Oh my gosh. Silky, here's a way for you to go expand your business, to have some content, to have some creativity, to have some clout. And the first thing you do is, I don't know what to write.
Well, it was about about
Now,
you.
hang on. Listen to me. I want you to hear this. This is everybody's story. Oh my gosh, here's your gift. You asked for it, God delivers. The universe delivers. And we're like, oh, no. So what do? You go ask some friends. You reached out to me. You reached out to some other people. You showed up again. And in 24 hours, you cut the lines. And now you are free to write this. You are doing all the work, Silky. You got to hang around the people who believe in you. I get that. But I took you on a meditation. I am only your guide. You are doing all the work. So know that whenever you get stuck, you've got to hang around the people that you know that can get you unstuck. Period. End of story. Full stop. So allow yourself some space today. Give yourself a special tea that you like, or a coffee or something, but do something. And this is the hedonic reward, saying, I literally made this. This doesn't come out of the blue. I wasn't lucky. I asked, it showed up instantly. You've got to give yourself that credit, because that's the rewire. That's the neuroplasticity. When the you won't believe what happened shows up, you have to believe it, so that more unbelievable can show up where you can believe it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I love you so much, Sean.
I love you
Thank
too. Thank you. All righty. Anyone else?
You gotta
Last
go.
thoughts, comments?
You gotta go a bit easier, man, or we're not gonna make it to round 4. Man, you gotta, you know. Hey, listen, a couple of things you mentioned really hit with me.
Yeah.
Especially one of them, which is close to me, and I've spoken with you about it several times, numerous times,
Mm-hmm.
and it's sales.
Mm-hmm.
And as you were giving the example for a short while or about sales,
Mm-hmm.
I immediately thought to myself, and I've written it down. I was like, anybody who's done sales ever, any type of selling, any type of professional selling,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you've encountered quazillions of no's.
Yep.
Right? And you've encountered, and I have, numerous types of people. Grumpy people, happy people, easy people, hard-on people. And, when you want to sell them something, it's not about the product or the service, it's about them, what they want. And if you can, fulfill their need. And then I remembered what my sales manager told me, my first ever sales manager. He told me, you gotta act the part. And at some point, when I started acting the part and not focusing on the script, I started closing people like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And then, once again, going back to the limiting beliefs, the thing that just clicked with me, and I heard it obviously 9,999 times already, but this 10,000th attempt worked out, was to act the part. And another very important thing that Silky mentioned, and thank you, Silky, for this, is the feeling of being stuck, because we spoke about it just about 2 weeks ago. I told you I felt stuck. I felt like I was in a limbo because I knew exactly what needs to happen, but it does not happen.
Yep.
And then today I realized that's not important. That doesn't matter, because it's something that is limiting, and I could be far off worse, and I'm not. And this is what I thought yesterday after the call. I was walking down the lake because we finished the call at about 2.5 hour mark. So I walked later, and that was what I was thinking about the visualizing the what if it were worse part. And maybe that's not good, but it really gave me an insight into the things that are limiting for me, but they shouldn't be. And I want to thank you for that. So that's my 2 dinars on it, if you care to accept.
I love it. And the reason that it's important to become aware of what's not working is because what happens if you 5x that? 5 years from now, you're in the same place. Is it the same or is it 5 times worse? Do you feel 5 times worse? How about 10 years from now? And that's the Dickens process. I took people on that through the ranch out here. Tony Robbins does it. And we went through it out here. And it was wildly emotional. Look at Diane's face. Diane was, they were literally on the ground in the fetal position. Not wanting them to be, but that's, if you really get to the understanding that 5 years, 10 years, 15 years from now, if you don't do it, your body goes into a hysterical state of, and it's your body. Your body is keeping you stuck, not your mind. Your mind set the goal. This is literally your body keeping you stuck. It's called habitual actions. It's called your hedonics. It's why if you decide you're going to lose 20 pounds and you put 20 pounds away and back into the universe and you take back 30 pounds and you're heavier, this happens all the time. That is your hedonic response to your body, not your mind. Your mind sets the goal. We intellectualize our goals way too much. We have to emotionally charge them because the negative side is emotionally charged. And they say, what do they say? I don't know if it's true or not, that a negative charge is 10 times, 100 times more powerful than a positive one. I don't know that it's more powerful. I think we have more of them. So if I have one negative thought, I probably have 100 subliminal thoughts that are negative that reinforce this positive one. I mean, that negative one to make it even more negative, stronger negative, versus I go out and I'm like, okay, so today I'm going to do my walking. You've never walked. Why would you walk? You walk around all the time. Why do you have to go spend 20 minutes walk? All of this happening at a subconscious level. So that's just another anchor for me. That's a visual going, oh, that's an anchor I need to cut. So thanks, AJ. Appreciate it. Anyone else? Last thoughts, comments, questions, takeaways.
Yeah, just one comment.
Yep.
I want to thank you, actually, a statement of gratitude for you. I want to thank you for getting the time off of your day to work with us for 15, 16 sessions. God knows where we're going to end up, because this was supposed to be 3 hours of work and we've done 6, 7, already. So I want to thank you for that, because for me, I think I learn best with full immersion. And I know some of the people, and I believe everybody here knows what some people charge for full immersion events. I mean, that's right. So once again, really thank you from the bottom of my heart for taking out the time of your day to work with us. And it only costs our time. So thank you for that.
Donations are accepted.
Yes.
I will accept donations. I will be open to receive donations. So love it, love it, love it. Thank you, thank you, thank you, AJ. Well, and so part of this, and so I want you all to think about this as you go through your process. As you start to do trainings like this with your communities and your groups, I record everything, right? This is going to be a $1,500 recorded session for people to go watch. It's a total immersion. Who knows, 20 hours, 30-hour immersion training on just absolutely no doubts left of goal achievement. Nobody's got this. And the reason that you can't find this is because nobody does this way, and they don't record it so that other people could have it, so they can charge $80,000 a year for you to access. So there you go. All right, everybody. I love you tons. I appreciate you. I am your head brain training, brain scrambling. Let's get ready, misfit. Decision of self. I'll see y'all where?
The next event.
The next
At the
event.
next event. Somebody give me some Costa Ricas.
Pura
Pura
vida.
vida.
Buddha Vita. Somebody give me some Lydia.
Peace
Peace
be
be
with
with
us.
us.
You with us.
And somebody give me some the queen of self-decision to do what she didn't know she could do. Jessie Lee Ward,
Boss
Bossly.
Lee.
Lee.
Boss Lee, and a little bit of gurgly. We love you, Fee. All right, everybody,
Lee.
go have some fun. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Tomorrow I'll be in Dallas. So yes, we will not be doing a Saturday, but I'm going to ask you to do some of your homework on Saturday. I'll have more things up on the page. Some of the homework, some recaps from what we've done. And yeah, because Saturday I'm going to be focusing on me and the mastermind. And then we'll be back on Monday. So
Yay.
love you tons. Thanks, everybody.
Love you.
Bye for now.
Sean,
you,
safe
Sean.
travels. Love you
Thank
guys.
you.
Love you all.